Mrs. Boland here. We are still looking at Learning Target 4.1, but in this video, we're going to look at Part B, where we're trying to identify the slope of a line from 2 points. So 2 points is Part B. So I'm going to go ahead and skip right to Part B, and our directions tell us to find the slope of the line through each pair of points. So these are ordered pairs, x comma y, and we could graph these ordered pairs, we could plot them, and we could connect these 2 points with a line, and that would be the slope that we're looking at. The formula for finding slope between 2 points, and again for slope we use the universal letter m. So to find our slope, we are following this formula. We are doing y2 minus y1, and these are little subscripts here, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, and we are dividing by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Another way to think of this is that in the top we are doing our change in y, and in the bottom we are doing our change in x. So we do have XY ordered pairs. You have to remember that you're putting your change in y in top and your change in x in bottom. And I'm going to use this formula exactly. So I will show you how I do that. In example 4, I have 2 ordered pairs, and ordered pairs we said are x comma y, x comma y. Because this is my first ordered pair, I can call it x sub 1, y sub 1. And because this is my second ordered pair, I can call it x sub 2, y sub 2. So again, the subscripts for 1 here were for my first ordered pair, and the subscripts for 2 were for my second ordered pair. Once you label these, we are now just plugging these numbers into my formula. So to find my slope will equal, and in the top I need to do y2 minus y1. So my y2 is 10, so I have 10 minus. My y1 is negative 18. And notice, as soon as I wrote my y2, I wrote the minus sign because that's a part of my formula. Then I go to look at what my y sub 1 is, and it's negative 18. So you'll see that right here, I actually end up with a double negative, and that's okay. In the bottom, I'm doing x2 minus x1. My x2 is 8, and my x1 is 4, so I'm doing 8 minus 4. And now I can simplify. 10 minus a negative 18 really gives me 10 plus 18. In the bottom, 8 minus 4 gives me 4. 10 plus 18 gives me 28. So 28 over 4, and I can do that. 28 divided by 4 gives me a slope of 7, or we could say 7 over 1 as our slope. In example 5, again, if you want to, you can label your ordered pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2, and then you're going to plug them into your formula. So my slope equals, I'm doing y2 minus y1. My y2 is negative 17 minus my y1 is 1 divided by my x2 is 4 minus my x1 is 4. Negative 17 minus 1 gives me negative 18. 4 minus 4 gives me 0. And before you tell me that your slope is 0, plug this into your calculator. Do negative 18 divided by 0 and see what your calculator tells you. Your calculator is going to say most likely error, or your calculator may say undefined. Your answer to this one is this word, undefined. And the reason for that is we cannot do a number divided by 0. That's illegal. You cannot do that. It does not work. You can do this. You can do 0 divided by a number. That works. Versus what we see here is a number divided by 0. That can never happen. You can never do a number divided by 0. It's an error. It's illegal. It is undefined. So your answer for this slope is undefined. And we will talk more about this in another video. But if we were to graph this, an undefined line, if you were to plot it here on your XY axis, an undefined slope is a vertical line. So your line would look like this. It would be a vertical line. Undefined. Let's look at example 6. In example 6, again, if it's helpful for you to still label your ordered pairs, you can. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then you plug them in your formula. So I'm trying to find my slope. So I have that my slope is equal to. And I sometimes have students who will draw the bar and right away write the minus sign because you know that's part of your formula. And now you just need to plug in the ordered pairs. That's an option too. So in the top, I need to do Y2, which is -9, minus my Y1, which is -5. In the bottom, I'm doing X2, which is -10, minus X1, which is -8. I see that I get double negatives actually in top and bottom. So -9 minus a -5 becomes -9 plus 5, which gives us -4. And in the bottom, -10 minus a -8 becomes -10 plus 8, which gives me a -2. And so then I'm doing -4 divided by -2. Well, negative divided by negative is a positive. That cancels. So we're really doing 4 divided by 2, which gives us a slope of 2. Or you could also say 2 divided by 1. That would also be a correct slope. At this time, go ahead and pause the video and see what you get for this U-try. On this U-try, we actually end up getting a fraction for our slope. You probably came to this fraction, 6 divided by -4. And that's okay. We can get fractions for our slope, but we must reduce our fractions. So you could use your calculator to help you with this, or you can think, what number can I divide numerator and denominator by to reduce this fraction? Well, top and bottom are both even. I can divide top and bottom each by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. You can keep the negative sign in the bottom with the -2. I kind of just pulled it out front. And when we go to graph, we'll see that when your slope, your final slope is negative, it's not going to matter if you put the negative sign out front, if you put it with the top, or if you put it with the bottom. It's still a negative slope because there's only one negative sign. So again, you could keep the negative sign in the denominator with the 2, or you could pull it out front. It's correct either way. With finding the slope through pairs of points, there are 2 big mistakes that I'll find that students make. One of them is if on this U-try, instead of having 3/2, if you had it flipped and you had 2/3, that would mean that when you were using your formula, you put the change in x's in the top instead of the change in y's. So you need to be very careful and make sure that your change in y goes in the top and your change in x goes in the bottom. The second mistake that I will commonly see students make is at the end, you will get the wrong sign. So if instead of getting a -3/2, if you got a positive 3/2, that means that you weren't being consistent in subtracting your change in y's and your change in x's. So what I mean by that is if you're going to label your ordered pairs, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, you have to go in that consistent order. Meaning if when I'm finding my change in y, I do -5 minus -11, then I need to start with the second ordered pair to find my change in x's as well. So I would need to go -6 minus -2. I can't do for my y's the second ordered pair minus the first ordered pair, but then for my x's decide I want to change the order and do the first ordered pair minus the second ordered pair. You can't do that. So my recommendation is label your ordered pairs and follow this formula exactly so you can be sure that you are plugging it into your formula correctly.